comprehensive history of the popes. The papacy's origins. The Pope, also known as the Bishop of Rome, traces its roots to St. Peter, one of Jesus Christ's apostles, who is considered the first pope by tradition. According to Catholic teaching, Jesus appointed Peter as the rock upon which the church would be built. Early popes were often martyrs, leading the Christian community during times of Roman persecution. St. Peter is traditionally recognized as the first pope. Early popes were mainly concerned with overseeing local Christian communities and preserving the faith. In 313 AD, Emperor Constantine legalized Christianity with the Edict of Milan, giving the papacy more influence. The rise of papal power, as the Roman Empire fell, and Europe entered the Middle Ages. The papacy gained spiritual and temporal authority. Popes wielded immense political power, sometimes rivaling kings and emperors. Pope Leo I was the first to assert papal supremacy, famously persuading Attila the Hun to spare Rome. Pope Gregory the Great was instrumental in spreading Christianity throughout Europe and shaping the role of the papacy as a central figure in Western Christian life. Pope Urban II launched the First Crusade, a defining moment for papal influence over European rulers and the medieval world. Pope Innocent III reached the peak of papal power, asserting authority over monarchs and launching crusades. The Renaissance and Reformation. During the Renaissance, the papacy became embroiled in political and cultural turbulence. Popes of this period were often involved in worldly affairs, leading to criticism and reform. Pope Alexander VI, member of the notorious Borgia family, was notorious for his corruption and nepotism. The Protestant Reformation in the 16th century, led by Martin Luther, challenged the authority of the Pope and resulted in the fragmentation of Christianity in Europe. Pope Leo X famously excommunicated Martin Luther, exacerbating the schism between the Catholic Church and Protestantism. The Council of Trent was convened by the Church in response to the Reformation. It aimed to address corruption, clarify Catholic doctrines, and affirm the supremacy of the Pope. The modern era, with the advent of modernity and secularism, the papacy lost much of its political power, particularly after the French Revolution and the unification of Italy, which resulted in the loss of the Papal States in 1870. Despite this, papacy adapted to the changing world and became a symbol of moral and spiritual guidance for Catholics worldwide. Pope Pius IX was the last pope to wield temporal power over the Papal States. His papacy saw the formalization of papal infallibility in 1870. The First Vatican Council defined the dogma of papal infallibility, asserting that the Pope is free from error when pronouncing ex cathedra on matters of faith and morals. Pope Leo XIII promoted Catholic social teaching, focusing on issues such as workers' rights and social justice. Pope Pius XII led the Church during World War II, and while he faced criticism for his stance on the Holocaust, he was also a key figure in the development of post-war peace efforts. The 20th century. Reform and Vatican II. The 20th century saw the papacy face new challenges, especially with the rise of global communication and social change. The Second Vatican Council, convened by Pope John XXIII, marked a major turning point in church history. It modernized the Church's approach to liturgy, interfaith dialogue, and the role of the laity. Pope John XXIII was beloved for his warmth and for initiating Vatican II, which aimed to bring the Church into the modern age. Pope Paul VI continued the reforms of Vatican II. Though he faced strong opposition from traditionalists, Pope John Paul II became one of the most influential popes in history. A charismatic leader, he helped bring an end to communism in Eastern Europe, played a significant role in the fall of the Berlin Wall, and worked to heal divisions with other Christian denominations. Pope Benedict XVI was a theologian who made the surprising decision to resign in 2013, the first pope in 600 years to do so. He left a legacy of deep intellectual and doctrinal work. The modern papacy. Pope Francis. The first pope from the Americas, broke from tradition in many ways. He is known for his emphasis on mercy, humility, and outreach to the poor and marginalized. Pope Francis has focused on reforming the Vatican, advocating for greater inclusivity within the Church, and addressing issues like climate change, immigration, and social justice. He has also worked to rebuild relations with other Christian denominations, particularly the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Anglican Church. One of the most significant elements of Francis' papacy has been his focus on synodality, or the idea of a more participatory and collaborative church. Conclusion. The legacy of the popes, the history of the papacy, is a story of transformation and adaptation. From its origins with St. Peter to the modern global role of Pope Francis, the papacy has evolved in response to social, political, and theological challenges. Today, the Pope remains a key spiritual figure, guiding over 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide. But the nature of that leadership continues to evolve as the Church faces the challenges of a rapidly changing world.